Next up, we have our last speaker for today, which is Christina Greever-Wilson, who is the Director of Communities at My Green Labs. As a part of the Standards and Technical Resources team, she supports a magnitude of My Green Labs programs to ensure their continued rigor and relevance. Additionally, she is involved in strategic projects, writing and speaking engagements, and leads on the International Laboratory Freezer Challenge. She has been in the laboratory sustainability field since 2015, first at the University of Colorado Boulder, and since 2019 with My Green Lab. She received an Emerging Leaders Award for the International Institute for Sustainable Laboratories in 2022 for her efforts to bring equity and social justice to the laboratory sustainable conversation. Um, Welcome, Christina.
Thank you, Gagan. Can you hear me okay? Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you all for staying towards the end of this Green Chemistry Connections today to hear John and I speak as well. Thank you, John and Peter and Alicia, for your presentations proceeding, and also to our student organizers and everyone with Beyond Benign. Really happy to be here representing My Green Lab. And my goal in just the next couple minutes is to speak about resources that are available to all of you through My Green Lab. And specifically, I'll end with what the 2025 Freezer Challenge is and encourage you all to join. If you haven't heard of us, My Green Lab is a nonprofit organization with a mission to build a global culture of sustainability in science. And we're trying to transform the entire scientific industry. And we see science as being possibly being a leader in sustainability globally in terms of a sector. So we do this through education, community engagement, and our certification tools. And working to build sustainability into everything that the scientific community does. And if you've been following what we've been up to, last year we formed a different entity called Impact Laboratories. So the My Green Lab team is now split between My Green Lab and Impact Laboratories. We are different teams, united in our mission. But the Impact Laboratories team is our third-party verifier of the My Green Lab certification program now. And I just mentioned this because you might see the My Green Lab name, you might see the Impact Laboratories name. We are related but separate entities. I'm going to speak about our certification program here in a second. So My Green Lab has a whole program ecosystem, and we're trying to do different things with these different programs, influencing and supporting scientists at the bench, doing their work, whether you're teaching science or you're conducting research. We work with academia, we work with biotech and pharma, government labs, clinical labs. Also through our ACT label, we are trying to influence the manufacturers of the laboratory products that all of our labs need and purchase to reduce the environmental impact of the products coming into our spaces. We also have some advocacy campaigns, and we work with partner organizations like Beyond Benign on some of our programs too. So I'm going to speak to a few of these programs now and then end with the Freezer Challenge. So of course, I think we're all aware that research and laboratories in general are very resource-intensive spaces. These buildings consume a lot of energy, a lot of water. We generate a lot of single-use plastic waste. And if you're curious, there's a report called The Carbon Impact of Biotech and Pharma that we have put out the last 3 years, really trying to quantify the environmental impact of the biotech and pharma sector. And I believe in perhaps as soon as this year, we're really trying to get a sense of also the carbon impact of academia. So we're trying to expand to like more of science as an industry globally, beyond just biotech and pharma. So there's a large environmental impact to the work we do. And so our programs are geared towards tackling that. And the first program I'll mention is My Green Lab certification. This program has been around for many years now, but we have just commercially launched the 2.0 version. And so if you're familiar with My Green Lab, if you've maybe done My Green Lab certification in your laboratory, moving forward, if you recertify or if you're a new lab coming into this program, it's going to look a little different than what it did a year ago, 3 years ago. And this is a part of a continuous improvement, multi-stakeholder engagement process that we went through to revise and update this program. The certification program is for lab teams. So you can certify a teaching lab, you can certify a research laboratory in any sector. And this program helps support you reducing the environmental impact of your lab operations. Things like focusing in on your chemical use, maybe reducing hazardous chemical use, powering off equipment that tends to be left on all of the time, encouraging the purchase of energy efficient or water efficient equipment if you need to do an upgrade, and all sorts of procurement and inventory management topics. This is also a great program to engage your team in talking about sustainability in the lab. It's an existing framework that you can use. And I just want to mention, the program in the past has focused on the engagement survey that all the scientists in the laboratory take, and answer questions about various sustainable best practices in the lab. And My Green Lab Certification 2.0 still does this. The engagement survey is much shorter now. To go in tandem with the engagement survey, we have something called the assessment tool now. And this is for a lab lead or a lab manager to focus on questions that maybe the lab members don't know. So the assessment tool is for one person to work through as the lab and provide information to My Green Lab. That goes in parallel with the engagement survey. And we also have this impact estimator tool as well. But the process of certification remains the same. You take a baseline snapshot of where your lab is. You get a bunch of feedback from My Green Lab after the baseline, and after you've filled out the assessment tool. And then you're given a period of time, usually months, to enhance your processes, implement changes that your lab thinks would be most impactful, most important for the work you do. And then you come back and the lab works through the assessment tool and the engagement survey once again, and you get certified. And it is a continuous improvement process, with labs recertifying every 2 years. So that's the path of our program. And with certification, you get certified at one of 5 levels, depending on how high your lab scores. And, Thermo Fisher example here, we work with all sorts of organizations that have laboratories. And My Green Lab certification is rapidly becoming the global standard for assessing sustainability in lab operations. It's endorsed by the United Nations Race to Zero and is a key breakthrough outcome for the pharma and medtech sector to reach net zero. We are now an approved program through the US EPA Environmentally Approved Purchasing Program, and that is new as of the very end of 2024. And we are seeing the funders of science begin to incorporate requests for labs to be more efficient basically the labs that they fund must be more efficient. And so this program is also endorsed by the Wellcome Trust, Cancer Research UK, as part of a broader movement to green the science funding process. This My Green Lab certification is just one of our certification programs. We also have the ACT label. This is the eco label for laboratory products. And I want to mention this today because the ACT label database, which you can access at this link or this QR code, this is free and available for anyone to use. So you can go to the database and look at which laboratory products, which would be consumable supplies, reagents, chemicals, or equipment, which have ACT labels, and you can cross-compare between manufacturers to see which products have the lowest environmental impact. And ACT stands for accountability, consistency, and transparency. We are trying to drive greater accountability, consistency, and transparency among the manufacturers of the products that our labs need. And we are striving to really scale this program in the coming years. I think we have something like over 50 different manufacturers involved in the program thus far. Maybe a lot of those that you buy from are listed here. But in addition to trying to scale this program, we are also commercially releasing version 2 of the ACT program this upcoming May. And what this will do is it's changing the way our ACT labels look a little bit. It's always been kind of a nutrition label, but it's gotten a refresh, and there's some new features of it, such as carbon reporting for the carbon impact of a particular company, as well as information about the manufacturing facility that this product comes from. The ACT label is also, like My Green Lab certification, a third-party verified eco label, and we work with a group called SMSC Collaborative. We've worked with them for many years, and they do the life cycle analyses and looking at the data for all the ACT labels. Why can I not advance now? This is very strange. Please advance. Okay. You might be interested in our accredited professional program. We have a green chemistry module, and this program is really for anyone who wants to take a deep dive into these laboratory sustainability topics. You can purchase one module, you can purchase all 6, and it's really for people that want to go deep into these topics and be able to speak with a lot of knowledge to their organization or to their laboratory. Could be beneficial for someone who is trying to lead a My Green Lab certification effort at their organization. But we worked with Beyond Benign to do for some of the content on the green chemistry module. There are discounts for students, universities, nonprofits, government professionals. So I want to make you aware that this is available. And then our 2 free programs. The My Green Lab Ambassador Program, my guess is we have some My Green Lab ambassadors on the line here today, but this is a free online program that gives you a crash course in how to talk about laboratory sustainability with your lab for the first time and how to implement those early changes. And you watch a few videos, you take a quiz. It's fairly easy to become an ambassador. And I think the main benefit is that you have access to a Microsoft Teams community channel for all the ambassadors that are in the program. And we have over 8,000 ambassadors around the world. And this program's only been around for, I would say, 4 years now. So over 50 countries represented. If you want to connect with more people in the scientific space, all sorts of people that care about laboratory sustainability, this is a great place to go. All right, and then I'm going to end with just speaking about the International Laboratory Freezer Challenge for a few moments. This is an international competition that is running right now, and I'd like to invite you to join in the fun. This is a partnership program between My Green Lab and the International Institute for Sustainable Laboratories, or I2SL. And the parameters for this competition are pretty simple. If you are in a laboratory or a teaching lab and you have cold storage, so refrigerators and freezers that store scientific samples or reagents, anything like that, museum samples, whatever it might be, then you are eligible to participate in the Freezer Challenge. And there's many goals of this program. It runs every year from January to July 1st, and it's entirely free. We have sponsors that make this program free to all. So thank you to the sponsors of the Freezer Challenge. And what is it? So it's an international competition, as I say, and it helps support labs to work through sustainable and energy efficient best practices just pertaining to your cold storage. And the reason we're focused on this is that these are units that are plugged in on 24/7. running 365 days a year, and they go until they fail or they have trouble, and they're often overlooked or forgotten about until they have a problem. They also can consume significant energy, especially the older models. If you have units that are over, I would say, 6 or 7 years old, it's likely that they are consuming far more energy than the most energy efficient new models on the market. And I'd like to think that the freezer challenge has been one of the reasons why there's been a drive in the market to produce more and more energy efficient cold storage units for labs. So there's different aspects of the program, and importantly, labs pick and choose what they want to work on. You work at your own pace, you choose which actions you want to do, and the ones you don't want to work on, you just skip. And the best practices are in various categories: preventative maintenance of your units, material and inventory management, temperature tuning. This is talking about ensuring you are storing items at the correct temperature, retiring unneeded units and upgrading to more energy efficient units, and some cutting edge actions, things like sharing of units between labs, barcoding your inventories, and trying room temperature sample storage. And there's so many benefits for labs doing the freezer challenge. Of course, we're most interested in improving energy efficiency of labs, but this also goes in tandem with reducing costs for your institution. Even though you likely don't see your energy bills, somebody at your institution does. And some of the actions in the freezer challenge equate to energy savings. This also promotes better sample accessibility and improved sample integrity for you and your lab members, risk mitigation, preventing catastrophic failures through doing preventative maintenance. This can be a great team building project, and it can be a lot of fun. And there's the potential to win awards both at the lab level and organization level. And we also promote that if institutions want to run their own internal competitions, you can promote the freezer challenge at your organization, and we can give visibility to someone at your organization to see all of the data from your research institution to choose a winner in the end among the labs that are just at your organization. All those labs are also entered into the international competition too, but we have lots of organizations that run their own mini competitions using our platform and using the data that we are gathering for the international competition. I'm just going to wrap up real quick. It's pretty easy. You go to this website and you register. You work on a score sheet on behalf of your lab at your own pace, choosing which actions you want to do. We have resources on the site that can help you, work through the freezer challenge. And you just have to get all your information into the score sheet by July 1st. We help you understand your estimated energy savings through this program, and then we celebrate the winners in the fall, both with a virtual award ceremony for labs and an in-person award ceremony at the I2SL conference. I think I'm going to jump ahead. We have a new software platform this year, so that's the big change. And so the score sheet is available, auto-calculating, resources, visibility for those people at institutions that want to see everything going on for their institution. And we have a few more features coming in the next couple months that we are still building. And this program has a lot of impact. We saved 31 million kilowatt hours just last year with this competition. And I really encourage you to sign up, be one of the thousands of labs that do this program every year. We'd love to have you. We also have like a marketing kit if you want to promote this at your institution. There's like ready to go flyers, PowerPoint slides, newsletter information, and that's also just available, for free on the Freezer Challenge site. So some of our winners from last year, and I will leave it at that. I know we need to get to breakout rooms. So thanks for your attention. Please join the Freezer Challenge competition and check out My Green Lab.
Thank you so much, Christina. That was a wonderful presentation, and I keep on hearing about this freezer challenge, but it's cool to learn more about it. I'm just going to open up the rooms and just share my screen. So we're going to have 3 breakout rooms, which you guys can access right now. There's going to be one for each of the speakers or each of the presentations. And if you need any help joining any of them, please let me know. You can message me or just talk out loud, and I can move you to the group that you want to join. We're gonna have the regular rooms for 10 minutes. If you need to go and join another meeting, that's okay. But at the end, we're just gonna have some updates from Beyond Benign Higher Ed team. So if you want to stick around for that, that would be appreciated.